All right, all right, all right. Fumi Love here. I hope everyone is well. I am doing the second portion of the title inspector or title insurance producer. And I left off at questions 1 through 100. So I'm going to start off here from questions 96 up to 200. So I'm just going to do maybe about 45 minutes to an hour, maybe no more than an hour, depending on how long the question is. So, yeah, washed my hair from the last time, a little bit more refreshed. All right, so let's rock and roll. All right, so question 96. A jurisdiction may place limits on the use of a residential property by way of building codes and zoning codes. Again, building codes and zoning codes. A jurisdiction may place limits on the use of residential property by way of building codes and zoning restrictions. 97. Creditors have 6 months, 6 months from the date of the descendant's death to file claims for the estate if notifications has not been given by the personal representative. Again, creditors have 6 months from the date that the descendant's death to file claims against the estate if notification has not been given by the personal representative. A life estate may be conveyed by a deed. A life estate may be conveyed by a deed. Title to real estate may be transferred pursuant to a last will and testament by a personal representative or executor. Again, title to real estate may be transferred pursuant to a last will and testament by a personal representative or executor. A loan in which the lender agrees to lend a maximum amount within a certain term and the collateral serve as the equity in a home is called a second mortgage or HELOC, which is standing for Home Equity Line of Credit. I'll read it again. A loan in which the lender agrees to lend a maximum amount within a certain term and the collateral serve as the equity in a home is a second mortgage or Home Equity Line of Credit, acronym HELOC. All righty, we're going to the next question. Just give me a moment. All right. Question 101. Which of the following is true? All of these are true. Natural monuments are created by nature. Artificial monuments are created by people. Physical monuments and a legal description may become a legal monument when recited in conveyance. A mile is 5,280 feet. You remember that? A full title search is generally for what period? 60 years. Wait, I'm going to have to let them know that I'm not available. Give me a second. I'm closed. I'm in class. I'm closed. Survive. Lord. Okay. Again, a full title search Is generally for what period? 60 years. Which of the following statements best describes legal title? There are more rights associated with legal title than equitable title. Again, which of the following statement describes legal title? There are more rights associated with legal title than equitable title. All right. The release or discharge of a mortgage that has been assigned can be executed by the assignee of the mortgage. I'm going to read it again. The release or discharge of a mortgage that has been assigned can be executed by the assignee of the mortgage. Now, here's some feedback. Once the original mortgage holder assigns his rights, the assignee or the new mortgage holder or the new servicer will have the same right as the original mortgagee, and can execute a release. All right. All right. Now, which clause in a deed of trust enables a trustee to initiate a foreclosure? The power or scale clause. The power or scale clause. All right, is the clause in a deed of trust which enables a trustee to initiate a foreclosure. When a trust terminates, legal and equitable title passes to the beneficiary. All right, so when a trust terminates, legal and equitable title passes to the beneficiary. Now, all of the statements are true regarding life estate except the one that is the except is probate is required. No. Again, all the following statements are true regarding life estate except probate is required. Now let's talk about those true statements. All right. A life estate is an ownership estate in real property that exists only for the lifetime of its owner. All right, that's one. There is a remanderman who takes the property after the death of the life tenant. And the remanderman interest should be listed as an exception in the title policy. So all of those are true statements. Should I read it again? Because it's long. Let's remember this again. All of the following statements are true regarding life estate, which is a life estate is an ownership in a real property that exists only for the lifetime of its owner. And there is a remanderman who takes the property after the death of the life tenant. And the remanderment interest should be listed as an exception in the title policy. Okay. A set of books found in a public record containing recorded maps, plats, and surveys is a plat book. That's an easy one. PLAT. A structure of two or more units in which the interior space of which are individually owned. The balance of the property, both land and building, is owned in common by the owner of the individual units, and that's a condominium. You don't have to worry about cutting grass or anything. It's great. So we know that a structure of two or more units in which the interior space which are individually owned, the balance of the property, both land and building, is owned in common by the owner of the individual units, and that is the condominium. Right. Also know that the master deed, also known as the condominium declaration, it will be noted on the title policy as an exception. So Remember that. That's some feedback for you. The master deed is also known as the condominium declaration, and that will be noted on the title policy as an exception. Okay. Now, a personal representative is appointed using which of the following, and that will be the letter of administration. The personal represent I keep saying that's so funny. A personal representative is appointed using the following, which is the letter of administration. Foreclosure auctions and foreclosure are filed where? In the circuit court. So, any foreclosures are filed in the circuit court. All right. A document issued by a title insurance company in connection with an about to be issued title insurance policy that protects a mortgage who is forwarding funds to a title insurance company, agent, or attorney against the embezzlement of funds or failure to follow specific closing instructions. That will be closing protection letter. Okay. Closing protection letter. Again, a document issued by a title insurance company in connection with an about to be issued title insurance policy that protects the mortgagee who is forwarding funds to a title insurance company, agent, or attorney against an embezzlement of funds or failure to follow specific closing instructions. Okay? 114. A system of individual ownership of unit combined with joint ownership of common areas of the structure and the land is known as condominium ownership. Condominium ownership, a system of individual ownerships of units combined with joint ownership of common areas of the structure and the land is known as condominium ownership. Now, another name for a condominium declaration is, told you earlier, a master deed. Another name for a condominium declaration is a master deed. Now, a title search should always contain this type of date, through date of when the records were last searched. So the title search should always contain this type of date, through date of when the records was last searched. Google, you get to see everything you did. All right. All of the following statements are true regarding bankruptcy filing, except a discharge of debtor automatically releases a judgment lien against the property. That's not true. Let's talk about what is true. All right. Again, all of the following statements are true regarding bankruptcy. That's the subject. These are true. A release of the judgment lien must be obtained and recorded, or an order of the bankruptcy court to sell free and clear of the lien must be obtained and reviewed by the title agent. Also, in a Chapter 7, the debtor may not act as a debtor in possession. And in a Chapter 13, a trustee may be appointed. The debtor may remain in possession subject to the provisions of a bankruptcy plan. Mhm. I know how to do Chapter 13 as well. All right. All of the statements are true regarding acknowledgments. Let's talk about what's true first. An acknowledgment refers to a form of certification made by a notary public. All deeds and deeds of a trust required an acknowledgment, and it serves to acknowledge that a document is being signed freely and voluntarily. What's not true, an acknowledgement is only required on a deed or deed of trust if there are no witnesses. No, 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 no. So again, that's just the job of a notary public, doing things properly. Again, what's true for acknowledgments An acknowledgement refers to a form of certification made by a notary public, and all deeds and deeds of trust require an acknowledgement, and it serves to acknowledge that a document is being signed freely and voluntarily. If a property is subject to a foreclosure action and the owner files bankruptcy, the lender must cease collection until it receives permission from the court to proceed with foreclosure action. Did you get that? Again, if a property is subject to a foreclosure action and the owner files bankruptcy, the lender must cease collection until it receives permission from the court to proceed with foreclosure action. You're going to need permission. You just can't do what you want, okay? Number 121. What is an acre? What is an acre? An acre is 43,560 square feet. An acre is 43,560 feet. An abstract of title shows open mortgages of deed of trust, liens, and easements. Again, an abstract of title shows open mortgages or deeds of trust, liens, and easements. An abstractor's search is backed up by an abstractor's certification. Again, an abstractor's search is backed up by an abstractor's certification. Now, if a grantor in a real estate transaction is a corporation, documents must be signed by the duty authorized agent of the corporation. If a grantor in real estate transaction is a corporation, documents must be signed by the duty authorized agent of the corporation. And the allocation of expense among the parties to a transaction is based on time of ownership. Is called proration. Again, an allocation of expenses among the parties to a transaction is based on time of ownership is called a proration. Okay. If a joint tenant sells their interest in a property, the tenancy becomes tenants in common, like Bobby and Whitney. You got something in common. Okay. If a joint tenant sells their interest in a property, the tenancy becomes tenants in common. A bring to date refers to an updated of a title search, an update of a title search. Again, a bring to date refers to an update of a title search. How many sections are in a township? 36. Think about that game, township. 36. That's how many sections are in a township. Husband and wife own property as tenants by the entirety, and they have one child. The wife dies. The property is now owned by the husband only. Husband and wife own a property, tenants by the entirety, and they have one child. The wife dies. Property is now owned by the husband only. Now, if a home equity line of credit is paid off, but not closed during a refinance transaction, the line of credit will become a first priority lien and may be subject to a title claim. Okay. If Jack conveys a life estate to himself and Diane becomes the remainder person, the policy should note in Schedule A that the interest held is a life estate, and note in Schedule B exceptions Diane's interest as a remainder person. So just make sure that that is in the policy, and Diane will get what is hers. Alrighty. So again, if Jack conveys a life estate to himself and Diane becomes the remainder person, the policy should note in Schedule A that the interest held is a life estate, and note in Schedule B exceptions Diane interest as a remainder person. In a deed trust, the borrower is the grantor, grantor, grantor. Again, in a deed of trust, the borrower is the grantor. In a deed of trust, the person obtaining the loan is the grantor, the borrower, the mortgager. Mhm. Again, in a deed of trust, the person obtaining a loan is the mortgager, the grantor, or the borrower. In a deed, the borrower is the grantee, grantee. In a deed, the borrower is the grantee. In a foreclosure action, a borrower generally has the right to redemption. Okay? Redemption. In a foreclosure action, a borrower generally has the right to redemption. In Maryland, a deed requires the signatures of grantor only. In Maryland. In Maryland, a deed requires the signature of a grantor only. In Maryland, a power of attorney must be accepted by a title company if it conforms to the Maryland Power of Attorney Act. Again, in Maryland, a power of attorney must be accepted by the title company if it conforms to the Maryland's Power of Attorney Act. In Maryland, the document creating a residential ground rent is called a lease. A lease. Not Elisa, but LEASC, lease. In Maryland, the document creating a residential ground rent is called lease. In Maryland, title records are researched where? At Mama's house. No, at the courthouse. In Maryland, title records are researched at the courthouse. Now, in order for a foreclosure to proceed without the strict supervision of the court, the deed of trust or mortgage must have a power of sale clause. In order for a foreclosure to proceed without the strict supervision of the court, the deed of trust or mortgagee must have a power of sale clause. In order for a trust to be valid, it must contain a and a conveyance, an agreement, or contract. In order to claim adverse possession, a trespasser possession must be open and notorious, hostile, actual, and exclusive. In order to claim adverse possession, a trespasser must be open and notorious, hostile, and actual and exclusive. Jack and Jill own a property together as tenants in common in Maryland. If Jack dies, which of the following becomes true? Jack's portion will be distributed according to probate law. Boom. So, yeah, even though they're um, living together and they're tenants in common and Jack dies, Jack's portion will be distributed according to the probate law. Now, Jack and Jill purchased a parcel of land located in two counties. Which of the following statements are true? The deed and deed of trust are to be recorded in both counties. Period. Everything's documented. Again, Jack and Jill purchased a parcel of land located in two counties, and because of that, the deed and the deed of trust are to be recorded in both counties. Now, leaving a legally valid will at death is called a testate. Testate. Again, leaving a legal leaving a legally valid will at death is called testate. Military power of attorneys must conform to federal law. Military power of attorneys must conform to federal law. One who gives a lease is a leasor, Lessor. One who gives a lease is a leasor. Real property of a descendant vests in the heirs by law, HEIRS, by law. Real property of a descendant vests in the heirs by law. Monuments and landmarks are prevalent in what type of legal description? Mets and bounds, METES and BOUNDS, Mets and bounds. Tenants in common can own unequal fractional shares in property. Okay? Doesn't have to be the same size. I want what she got what I want. No. Tenants in common can own unequal fractional shares in property. All right, now the borrower in the mortgage is the mortgager, Mortgagor, mortgagor. The borrower in a mortgage is the mortgager. We know that. The clerk of the circuit court for each Maryland county is required to use which of the following land record archives? Grantor, grantee index listed alphabetically by name. Again, the clerk of the circuit court for each Maryland county is required to use which of the following land record archives? And that is the grantor, grantee index listed alphabetically by name. The disposition of someone from a property is eviction or ejectment. Eviction, eviction, and eject the tape, get it out. Sorry to say. So sad. The disposition, depossession, that's possession. That sucks. Make me think about when somebody I know got evicted. All right, the essential elements to a contract are consideration, offer and acceptance, competent parties, and legal objective. Again, competent parties and legal objective, offer and acceptance, and consideration. Those are the essential elements to a contract. Following is not required to convey a deed, and that is a witness. The following is not required to convey a deed, and that's a witness. What is required to convey a deed? Legal action, acknowledgement, the name of the parties. You're going to need that. Before a deed, you do not need a witness. Can I get a witness? No. I just said no. The following is true regarding probate, which is when a person dies with a will, is called a testate. When a person dies without a will, is called a intestate. The personal representative, there's that word again, representative. The personal representative is responsible for paying the debt of the descendant. Again, we're talking about probate. Probate is when a person dies with a will, that's called testate. Okay? When a person dies without a will, it is called a intestate. Intestate. The personal representative is responsible for paying the debt of the descendant. All these statements are true when we're talking about probate. Tongue twisters. The following unities must exist to create a joint tenancy, which is PITT. P is possession, I is interest, T is time, and T is title. Again, the following unities must exist to create a joint tenancy: possession, interest, time, and title. The highest form of land ownership, or land that is owned completely without any limitations or conditions, is called fee simple or fee simple absolute. The highest form of land ownership, or land that is owned completely without any limitations or conditions, is called a fee simple or fee simple absolute. The instrument that serves as evidence in indebtedness secured by a deed of trust is called a note. Again, the instrument that serves as evidence of an indebtedness secured by a deed of trust is called a note. The person who benefits from a trust is the beneficiary. A person who benefits from a trust is a beneficiary. A person who conveys property to a trust is the trustor. A person who conveys property to a trust is a trustor. Trustor. The person who holds the trust property is the trustee. Trustee. The person who holds trust property is the trustee. The power of a court to interpret law is the jurisdiction. The power of a court to interpret law is the jurisdiction. The power provided in a trust may only be exercised by the trustee. The powers provided in a trust may only be exercised by the trustee. And the procedure to administer a descendant's estate is called a probate proceeding. Again, the procedure to administer of a descendant estate is called a probate proceeding. A return of an estate to a grantor after the expiration of a grant or lease is called a reversion. A return of an estate to a grantor after the expiration of a grant or lease is called a reversion. Reversion. The reversion is a property to the state where a owner dies without legal heirs, devises, or claimants is known as ESCHEATS. Uh-oh, I hear it ringing. Hello? No, I'm preparing for class. Yeah. Everything good? All right. No, I know. I'm not. I ain't even answering the door. But I'm getting back into it. I get out at 8:30. I'll call you on my break. Bye-bye. My bad. All right, so have to cut that out. Question 167. Let's go back. The answer was escheats. So the reversion of a property to the state where owner dies without legal heirs, devises, or claimants is known as escheats. ESCHEATS. Which of the following are types of foreclosures? Uh, Judicial foreclosure, non-judicial foreclosure, and strict foreclosure. Okay, those are the type of foreclosures. Again, judicial foreclosure, non-judicial foreclosures, and strict foreclosures. Which of the following best describes an acknowledgement? It is a certification made by the notary that the person executing the instrument is doing so as its free act. No one is twisting your arm to make you do it. So it is a certification made by the notary that the person executing the instrument is doing so as he free wills. That best describes the acknowledgement. And which of the following best describes race notice. First to record has priority. Which of the following best describes race notice? First to record has priority. Okay? The first to record has priority. Question 171. Which of the following deed is used to warrant a property against claims stretching back in time and provides the most comprehensive warranties? General warranty deed. General warranty deed is a deed is used to warrant a property against claims stretching back in time and provide most comprehensive warranties. The general warranty deed. Which of the following is a type of freehold estate? When you see freehold, you're going to think of a fee simple estate. Just take the R out. So which of the following is a type of freehold estate? A fee simple estate. Now, which of the following is true regarding leasehold estate? All of these are true. The owner of a leasehold interest does not own a fee interest in property. The owner of a leasehold estate has a right of possession in which has been purchased by and from the fee title holder. An example of a leasehold estate is a person with a periodic tenancy, which is a tenant or leasing. Alrighty. So, I'm going to read it again. Which of the following is true regarding a leasehold estate? Let's remember, we're talking about leasehold estate. The leasehold estate. The leasehold estate. The owner of a leasehold interest does not own a fee interest in property. The owner of a leasehold estate has the right of possession in which has been purchased from the fee title holder. An example of a leasehold estate is a person with a periodic tenancy. All right. Which of the following is true regarding Chapter 7 bankruptcies? These can save you sometimes. So this is true. It governs liquidation or straight bankruptcy cases. It is the most common bankruptcy proceeding, and the debtors you may not act as a debtor in possession. You better not act like you owe yourself. And Chapter 7 bankruptcy cases are filed in federal court, the United States Bankruptcy Court, Bankruptcy Court, Bankruptcy Court. Chapter 7. It governs liquidation or straight bankruptcy cases. It's the most common bankruptcy. You can't act like you owe yourself. And Chapter 7 bankruptcy cases are filed where? In a federal court, the U.S. Bankruptcy Court. Which of the following is true regarding ground rent in Maryland? It applies to leasehold estates. It may be redeemed from SDAT if the GR owner is unknown. Ground rent, that's what GR is. So it may be redeemed from the SDAT if the ground rent owner is unknown and the ground rent has not been collected or paid for 3 consecutive years. And may be redeemed from the owner using a calculation based on cost of ground rent and years of ground rent. So all of these statements are true when it comes to ground rent. I'm going to read it again. Ground rent, it applies to the leasehold estate. It may be redeemed from SDAT if the ground rent owner is unknown and the ground rent has not been paid, collected or paid for 3 consecutive years, and may be redeemed from the owners using the calculations based on cost of ground rent of years. Okay. Please make sure that you understand each option noted in the question. And for Chapter 7, the estate is liquidated unless the debt is reaffirmed. Unless it's reaffirmed. And a great way to remember the general warranty deed is to remember that a general deed is general, it's broad in nature. So that's a way to remember the general warranty deed. Do you remember what that is? Which of the following deed is used to warn a property against claims stretching back in time and provides the most comprehensive warranties? General warranty deed. Remember? General, broad. All right, chapter 7. Remember? The estate is liquidated unless the debt is reaffirmed. And again, for the ground rent, make sure you understand each portion noted in each question. Remember that it applies to the leasehold estate. It may redeem the SDAT if the ground rent owner is unknown or the ground rent hasn't been paid or collected in 3 consecutive years. And it may be redeemed from the owner using the calculations based on the cost of ground rent and years of ground rent. All right, I think I said that enough. Moving on. Question 100 and we're at 71, 76. Which of the following is true regarding probating a descendant's estate? 1. A creditor must present a claim within 6 months after the descendant's death. If a notice is delivered to the creditor by the personal representative sooner, the claim must be presented within 2 months, and claims must be filed in the Register of Will office. Again, true statements regarding probating a descendant's estate. All right. A creditor must present a claim within 6 months after the descendant's death. If a notice is delivered to the creditor by the personal representative sooner, the claim may be presented within 2 months, and claim must be filed in the Register of Wills office. Which of the following is true regarding witnesses on documents? A Maryland fiduciary power of attorney requires 2 witnesses and the notarization of the principal's signature. And a deed doesn't require witnesses, but notarization is required. Again, which of the following is true regarding witnesses on documents? Maryland's statutory power of attorney requires 2 witnesses and the notarization of the principal's signature. And a deed doesn't require witnesses, but notarization is required. Which of the following statements best describes equitable or legal titles? Legal title focuses on the duties of the property owner. Equitable title refers to the enjoyment of a property. And yeah, that's that. So those statements are describing equitable or legal title, which is legal title focuses on the duties of the property owner. And equitable titles refers to the enjoyment of a property. Which of the following types of foreclosures require little supervision from the court? Non-judicial foreclosure. Which of the following types of foreclosures require little supervision? Non-judicial foreclosures. Pursuant to Fair Credit Reporting Act, anyone uses a credit report to deny an application for insurance or to take an adverse action against a consumer must do which of the following? You must tell the consumer and give the name, address, phone number of the agency that provided the information. This is a new concept added to the manual now. All right. Which type of deed offers the least protection to a grantee? Quitclaim deed. Again, which of the deeds offer the least protection to the grantee? Quitclaim deed. When a Chapter 7 or 13 bankruptcy is filed, all foreclosure proceedings are stayed by the court. For Chapter 17 and 13 bankruptcies that's filed, the foreclosure proceedings are stayed by the court. When a debtor files a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, their assets become under the control of the bankruptcy trustee. So when a debtor files a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, their assets become under the control of the bankruptcy trustee. When a deed is executed before a notary, the declaration certification is called an acknowledgement When the deed is executed before a notary, I'm a notary, you're a notary. That's why you're watching it. And you want to get your TIPIC. You are helping them get their paperwork done. So when a deed is executed before a notary, the declaration certification is called an acknowledgement. When a personal representative must make a payment from their estate, which bill will be paid first? The first bills that's going to be paid will be fees due to the register of will. That's what will be paid first. When a personal representative must make a payment from an estate, which bill will be paid first? Fee due to register of will. When probating a matter, an estate value less than $50,000 is considered a small estate. When probating a matter, an estate value less than $50,000 is a small estate. Trust property is known as corpus, CORPUS. Trust property is known as corpus. Two or more people holding a title to a single piece of real estate in which they hold a common or equal right to possession and property of the real estate, they're joint tenants. Joint tenants. Chains and rods, as referenced in the legal descriptions, refer to distance. Chains and rods, as referenced in a legal description, refers to distances. DISTANCES, distances. Changes to one or more of the term of a loan may be achieved by a loan modification. Changes to one or more of the terms of a loan may be achieved by making a loan modification. Characteristics of joint tenancy includes co-tenancy with equal shares, rights of survivorship, and unity of time, title, interest, and possession. What's that? UTIP? Characteristics of joint tenancy includes, again, co-tenancy with equal share, rights of survivorship, and unity of time, title, interest, and possession. Dying without a legally valid will is an intestate. INTESTATE. Dying without a legally valid will is an intestate. How many people you know got an intestate who's gonna have one because they didn't do a will? Okay. Each straight line in the Mets and bounds descriptions consists of a bearing and distance. Each straight line in a Mets and bounds description consists of a bearing and distance. Common monuments in the Mets and bounds legal descriptions includes iron rods and pipes, concrete, wooden stakes, and fences. Common monuments in the Mets and bounds legal description include, again, iron rods and pipes, concrete, wooden stakes, and fences. And is a legal doctrine that prevents a person from asserting a position contrary to a previous position, action, or statement. Again, estoppel is a legal doctrine that prevents a person from asserting a position contrary to a previous position, action, or statement. 196. Which of the following would permit a lender to make a claim against a title insurance company? That would be failure of title agent to issue a loan policy within the time period prescribed by law or underwriter. So again, which of the following would permit a lender to make a claim against a title insurance company? Again, which of the following would permit a lender to make a claim against a title insurance company? Is when it's failure of the title agent to issue a loan policy within the time period prescribed by the law or underwriter. All right. A title policy contains all except a Schedule BII. A title policy contains all, which are the Schedule A and the Schedule B. The title policy contains the Schedule A and the Schedule B. not a Schedule BII. The title insurance policies are uniformed, backed, and statutory reserved. Title insurance policies are uniformed and backed by statutory reserves. An exclusion in an owner's policy provides that a certain type of matter which may affect the ownership interests will not fall within the policy coverage. So an exclusion in an owner's policy provides that a certain type of matter which may affect the ownership's interests will not fall within the policy's coverage. And number 200, the policy amount on a lender's policy is usually the loan amount. Again, the policy amount on a lender's policy is usually the loan amount. That's 200 right there. I could do another 10 minutes and get these last little few in. Let's just get 2 more screens in. Also known as hold harmless letter. This single letter is issued within the underwriter's when the underwriter agrees to hold harmless or in defamation another agent or underwriter for a certain class of defects for property that may have insured in the past, is a letter of indemnity. A letter of indemnity, all of that, which is known as hold harmless letter. The single letter is issued when the underwriter agrees to hold harmless or indemnifying another agent or underwriter for a certain class of defects for property they may have insured in the past, which would be a letter of indemnity. Indemnity. A standard provision found in a title insurance policy or binder which excludes liability regarding a specific title defect is exclusions. A standard provision found in a title insurance policy or binder which excludes, listen for the word exclude, that's how you know it's exclusions, liability regarding a specific title defect. Excluding defect. All right. Under the terms of an owner's policy of the title insurance, the insurer is obligated to pay for the insured substantive loss up to the amount of the policy, plus the cost of defining the title. I'll read it again. Under the terms of an owner's policy of the title insurance, the insurer is obligated to pay for the insured substantive loss up to the amount of the policy plus the cost of defending the title. Defending the title. Common elements in a condominium building generally include the land and foundation on which the condominium sits, the floors, walls, ceilings outside of the condo unit, and the heating and utility system. Those are all the common elements in a condominium building and generally included with the condominium. Again, which is heating, utility system, the floor, walls, the ceilings outside of the condo unit, the land, the foundation of which the condominium building sits on. All right. Both the title insurance commitment and title insurance policy would include exceptions. Okay. Both title insurance commitment and title insurance policy will both include exceptions. All right. A leasehold policy covers the tenant. Leasehold policy covers the tenant. Examples of restricted use in a condominium building may include parking restrictions, restrictions in the use of a swimming pool, and restrictions in the use of rooftop patio. Restrictions used in condominium will include, again, parking restrictions, restrictions in the swimming pool, and restrictions on the rooftop patio. 208. The title insurer stepping into the shoes of an insurer with respect to claiming rights is I can't even read. Subrogation. And that's Subrogation. Subrogation. Subrogation, which is the title insurer stepping into the shoes of an insured with the respect of claiming rights. Subrogation. If an owner of real estate, what am I saying real estate? If an owner of real property pays ground rent, his estate is leasehold estate. Okay, GR. If an owner of real property, it's real property, pays ground rent, GR, his estate is leasehold estate. Coverage can be added or deleted by a policy endorsement. Coverage can be added or deleted by a policy endorsement. All right, last page. And let's see if I got any feedback for you. So let's talk about subrogation. Subrogation is noted in the title insurance policy under the conditions section of the policy. Subrogation is under conditions section of the policy. Okay. All right. The type of policy is issued with a construction loan endorsement, and that's a standard lender policy. This type of policy is issued when a construction loan endorsement. It is called, what I say, a standard lender policy. All of the following is true regarding the environmental protection lien endorsement. This is true. It was developed by ALTA, ALTA. It provides affirmation insurance that there are no liens recorded to or for the cleanup of hazardous waste on the insured property. And it is called the 8.1 Environmental Protection Endorsement. What's not true is that it is only valid for 10 years. That ain't true. Again, we're talking about environmental protection lien endorsements. And the environmental protection lien endorsement, it was developed by ALTA, ALTA. Environmental protection lien endorsement, it provides affirmation insurance that there are no liens recorded for the cleanup of hazardous waste on the insured's property. And the environmental protection lien endorsement, it is called the 8.1 Environmental Protection Endorsement. Common policy exclusions include zoning laws, government restrictions, fraud, and impersonations. Common policy exclusions include zoning laws, government restrictions, and fraud and impersonations. Insured closing letters, also known as closing protection letters, are authorized by the title underwriter / insurer and is signed by an authorized representative of the title company. So insured closing letters are authorized by the title underwriters and is signed by the authorized representative of the title company. Standard title insurance owners coverages last for how long? As long as the property is owned by the name insured and heirs. That's it. Any feedback I can give you guys? Yes. So let's talk about the insured closing letters, also known as insured closing protection letters. Those are authorized by the title underwriter and is signed by the authorized representative of the title company. Now, notice this. An insured closing letter or insured closing protection letter is usually issued with the title commitment binder. Okay. And that last question, which was 215, because that's the last one I'm doing right now. Standard title insurance owner coverages last for as long as the property is owned by the name insured and heirs. And damn, I got one more minute. Dang it. All right. Title insurance premiums are calculated based on tiered rates. TIEREDE. Tired rates. Am I saying that right? Title insurance premiums are calculated based on tiered rates. TIERED. Okay. The condominium units include ownership in the airspace, includes ownership in the floors, internal walls, and ceilings, and is owned exclusively by the unit owner. Condominium unit. All right, we know that. And easements shown on a survey should be noted as an exception on the title commitment and the title policy. Easements are shown on survey should be noted as an exception on the title commitment and title policy. And environmental protection laws are created by the state government and the federal government, both of them. Environmental protection laws, again, are created by state and federal government. This is the last one. A policy of owner's title insurance is a contract to indemnify for losses which are covered by insuring provisions which are not excluded or accepted from coverage. One more time, and I'm out. I'm going to read this. The policy of owner's title insurance is a contract to indemnify for losses which are covered by the insuring provision and which are not excluded or accepted from coverage. That's it. I'm out. Hope this helped you guys. I know I tumbled on a couple of words. Doorbell still ringing. Anyway, I gotta put a close sign up on my door or something. Alrighty. So yeah. Remember that the condominium ownership is usually a leasehold interest requiring a leasehold policy. Again, a condominium ownership is usually a leasehold interest requiring a leasehold policy. All right, y'all. I hope this helps. Take care. Good luck on your exam. Fumi love. I'm out.